everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the Why of It All podcast. This is episode 7.
Is it?
It is.
Yes.
I cannot believe it. One day we're going to say episode 70 and then episode 700.
Oh my God.
That's wild. Okay. We're in it for the long haul, guys.
Yeah.
Today we are diving into meditation and how it rewires the brain and what the brain rewiring actually means. So we're going to touch on this. We're going to go deeper in other episodes, but right now we just kind of want to give you a little bit of a taste of the things that Melanie and I do in our day-to-day lives. So we've been best friends for 25 years, and over that time, we've both changed and grown in huge ways. So today we're going to talk about how our brains can do the same.
Love it.
It really can. So, and we want to describe why this topic. I think a lot of people think meditation is just about relaxation, but it's actually a tool for rewiring your brain. And so anybody that's stuck in that fight or flight, or that has obsessive OCD or anxiety or worry or fear, this episode is for you. So rewiring proves that our brains aren't fixed, so we can reshape them, and meditation is one of the best ways to do it. It's the simplest as well. So today we're going to keep this conversation fun, simple, and packed with things that you can actually use in your life, like easy things for you to take hold of. Maybe you take one little idea or something that we do and you make it into a daily habit or a weekly habit, something like that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I know, Gina, you've got a long history with this, being a yoga instructor. Before we go into the next question, I want to hear a little bit about you and your history with meditation.
Yes. So I did yoga teacher training in 2019. I became certified. Actually started in 2018, became certified in 2019, and did a 200-hour. That's the kind of the minimum that you want to do when you first are teaching. And anytime you do something new, it's kind of like that imposter syndrome. So I remember for the first 2 years of teaching, I was like, am I really a good teacher? Do I really know how to teach? And for me, I actually specialize and still specialize in a more deeper meditative relaxation type yoga. So I teach restorative yoga and yoga nidra. So those are both much more slower, holding poses for longer. And so I've been doing that since 2019. So I've got 6 years now, which sounds wild. And then about a year ago, I decided to further my studies. And now I went back to yoga teacher training and got another 300-hour certification. So now I'm a 500-hour certified yoga teacher. I know. Oh my God, toot my own horn. But it's really, so the meditation thing really, I would say, started at about the time I went into yoga teacher training. I don't think I was doing yoga before then, but really hadn't got into the aspects of meditation. And also I want to add that this last 300-hour was deeply rooted in meditation and mantra and movement. And one of these days we're going to have Kelly Samus on our show. She is one of my, she's actually owns the studio that I teach at, and she's also been my mentor and teacher. So anyway.
So meditation, I take it, is probably a big part of your practice in the studio too. So you're guiding your what do we call them? Not your
students,
clients.
Clients.
So you're in a class. You're guiding them through not just the movement, but through the mindfulness aspect of it as well.
Absolutely. Okay. So most practices, we start with an intention. We set that, and then, but there's another practice I teach, which is nidra, which is a conscious sleep meditative type. It's yummy. It's very yummy. And so we can dig more into that. But yes, I would say what I teach is more for a slower down, get into the parasympathetic nervous system, slow things down, and try to get you into that meditative state. Yeah. That's where I'm at, or that's how I teach.
So from your perspective, how does meditation help with mindset and rewiring the brain and helping people to shift down into that parasympathetic rest and heal mode?
So I think slowing down the brain waves. So when you're in that slower restorative type practice, It does help put the brain in the parasympathetic nervous system. It puts that in the forefront. So that fight or flight, it is not in the forefront anymore. You're pushing the parasympathetic into the forefront. And so you're able to tap in to that mindfulness, to the quiet, to the peace. And I've been told I have a really good relaxing voice, and I hope that I do. And maybe one of these days we'll do a little meditation, actually.
Oh,
right.
That
We
would
should
be
do
fun.
a little guided, like 1 or 2 minute meditation, and let me guide you, because that's what I do. Like that's what I do. I guide people into conscious sleep. And so
If we have time, do you want to do that at the end?
maybe we could. Maybe we could.
Okay,
Let's see.
that'll be a last minute on the fly
Yes.
decision. We did not plan that at all. So let's
Yes,
just see how we're doing with time.
Let's see how we're doing. But a couple of things I wanted to add too is that they've done studies showing that meditation actually shrinks the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that triggers stress and fear. But it also strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which helps us stay calm and focused. And so, those two things are so important. And I keep bringing up therapy, but in therapy, I learned a lot too about the parts of the brain and about how when you're in that fight or flight, that part of the brain that holds the emotion and all that is just fired, and you've got to rewire. And that's part of what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
So how long have you been meditating? Would you
say? I would say 6
6
years.
years?
Yeah.
And have you noticed any changes in yourself since you started doing that? Like what experiences that you've had, can you tie directly back to that?
I would absolutely say that I can definitely find moments in the day where I'm more present. I'm definitely more present. Like if I'm having a conversation with you or I'm listening to a patient when I'm at work, I can really tap in, and my brain's not, the anxiety and fear are not taking over, and I can actually be present. And I think that's part of what meditation's all about. People get so like, hoo, ha, ha, like it's this like crazy thing that I can never attain and can never do. And it's just truly being present in the present moment. And let me piggyback on that, saying, because we were talking about yoga and what I teach, there are a lot of times because when you're with me for an hour on the mat, it's easy when we're holding a pose and for things to be quiet for maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. When it's silent, 2 to 3 minutes is a long time, right? So being silent. And so there are times during the practice where I will remind my students, if your mind has started to wander, it's okay. Bring your mind back to the present moment. Bring your mind and focus back to the breath. And that's the easiest way to have them come back. And if you have to do that, 500 times during an hour, that's what you do. That's the cycle for staying in that present moment.
It just takes practice to create that good habit of staying present.
Yes, it's a practice. And that's what I tell students that get on the mat. I'm like, this is your practice. Today is another opportunity to practice yoga, to practice mindfulness, to practice meditation, to practice relaxation. And I always give my students permission, because I mentioned that my classes are more relaxation, meditative, they're slower. I always, when they come in, I always want to let them know, like, thank yourself for showing up today for yourself. We're running around all day.
Yeah.
Being caregivers, caring for our husbands, for our kids, for our coworkers, for helping people. And a lot of times we kind of go to the background, right? We kind of go to the back and put our needs below everybody else's. And so when my students show up and they have given themselves an hour of peace, of solitude, of quiet, of just their only job having to listen to my voice for an hour, I always tell people, you know what? Thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for being here and being on your mat and giving yourself another opportunity to tap into this.
I love that.
To this wealth of inner peace, of inner strength, of, all that yummy stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's super, super helpful for my students.
We talked about creating the good habit of that mindfulness and presence. How does meditation help to break bad habits?
I think one of the ways it does that is it helps us to slow down and become aware of like our automatic reactions to things. So I think starting to do that, starting to be mindful, again, it comes back to that not being so reactionary. So being able to stop and being able to take a moment and take a breath. I think that is what helps to kind of break those bad habits. I think like what we touched on a lot about the mindset, about telling yourself a different story, but also when it comes to meditation and rewiring, that silence, that pause, I think it's that pause that makes all the difference. And I think it's the quiet that helps you to become less reactionary.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's with anything, you know, even if it's not, even if it's journaling, you're still being quiet. You're thinking about things, but you're going inward. You're introspectively.
And being very present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that a good I don't know that I've thought about that, at least not in a while.
Yes.
That you're right. The practice of journaling it's a meditation. It's a type of meditation. And we're going to talk about another type of meditation soon, but
yes.
The practice of journaling really is a meditation because like I've heard it said in the past that almost any thing that you do, that you choose, where it creates the effect of time disappearing and bringing your focus in to one thing, and you become 100% focused and 100% present on the thing that you're doing in that moment, and time disappears.
Yes.
Is a meditation.
Yes.
So there have been times where I've gone for hikes, and at the end of it, I felt like I just did an hour-long meditation, and I realized that for a whole hour, all I did was listen to the sound of my footsteps on the ground
while you're walking,
and be present, hearing the birds, feeling the sunshine on my skin. And I wasn't thinking thoughts. I was just in the moment. And by the time I get back to my car, I'm like, damn, that was good.
Yes. And don't you feel better?
Yeah.
Don't you feel
My
better?
mother has talked about painting for her. Feels like a meditation, because she said it has that same hallmark where time just disappears and she doesn't realize how long she's been doing it because she's so focused and present.
Yes. Because sometimes, you know, silence and quiet scares people. It does, because what it forces you to do is when you're quiet, all those thoughts start popping up. All the old processing, the old records that you've played since you were a kid, or since
those stories start replaying in your mind that we talked about in the last episode.
Yes. Yeah. And so sometimes people need to start with something that's more attainable. Like maybe being quiet for 2 minutes just feels too uncomfortable. And I know a lot of people like that, that just can't stop the chatter. So maybe for those people, they're journaling, they're writing, they're walking, they're out in nature. I mean, meditation can take so many forms. And so I really want to stress that, because I just think it helps our listeners know that you can start small. You can start just where you're at. And if being quiet for 5 minutes while listening to monks humming, you know, if that's too intimidating, go out and take a walk without your headphones. Just listen to the birds chirping.
Yeah. And maybe you set an intention going out that you're not going to do the mind chatter. You're just going to be present in the moment and just allow your 5 senses to experience the moment.
And that can be a form of meditation.
And that can be what you're thinking about.
Yes.
If you can't stop the chatter, at least you can say, okay, well, I'm going to choose I'm going to choose what I'm thinking about and make it be present moment.
Yes. I love that.
Interesting.
I love it.
We didn't plan on going there, but that just happened.
Yes. I love it.
What's one meditation practice that's been a game changer for you?
So one of the things that I made note of, and that was so crazy, is everybody remembers COVID, right? Like that.
How could we forget?
How could we forget the pandemic and how it shifted and changed? And it actually changed things in the yoga community too, because we never recorded or Zoomed our yoga practices. That was all in person at a studio.
Oh, wow.
When COVID hit, nobody wanted to come to the studio. they were closed. Everybody was freaking out. Everybody was quarantined. And so, and I had only been, teaching for a year when that happened in 2020. So I started doing Zoom yoga classes in my yoga room at home.
I didn't know this.
Revolutionized
I don't
yoga.
know that I knew this about that at all.
Completely revolutionized yoga and other things too. But yes. And so during those COVID days, when everything got shut down and I was just a brand new little budding teacher and we had to just do a Zoom call and do a restorative practice at home and me guide people. I remember one of the other yoga instructors did sound bowl therapy. And if you've never done sound bowl therapy, it's delicious. Isn't it delicious? Yes. It's just the vibrations of the bowls and the sounds that all that brings. And it literally just gets into that parasympathetic nervous system. It almost affects the brain waves too, because of the sound, because of the constant sound, this humming, this,
it's a frequency.
It's a frequency.
And that kind of brings us back to what we were talking about last time on the last episode.
It does.
It's a frequency. And I'm no professional by any means, and I don't know much about it, but my understanding is that it's a particular set of frequencies, and each bowl, don't they have their own frequency?
They vibrate at frequency,
and it's a frequency that is healing.
Yes,
it is extremely high vibrational frequency.
Yes,
and this is just a random thing that's popping into my head from back in the day when I knew a little bit more about this.
Yeah,
there's the concept of entrainment. Have you heard of this?
No.
Entrainment. So, have you ever, if you were to walk into an old timey clock shop? Yeah. With the clocks on the walls with a little ticky thing that goes back and forth. It is a known phenomenon that over time, clocks will eventually entrain to one another and start ticking in unison. That's called entrainment.
I did not know.
I don't know the mechanisms behind it or why it happens, but it has to. But frequencies can be entrained to one another as well. And my understanding, I'm just remembering, is that the sound bowl therapy, one of the mechanisms of action is that when you expose yourself to these very, very high vibrational frequencies that are of the healing frequencies, it helps your frequency that you're vibrating at, which we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
It's an assistant that helps you raise your vibration.
Yes. And I just remember during those COVID days when we were all at home, we were practicing from home and she would do the sound bowl therapy from Zoom. I just remember, there was so much anxiety surrounding COVID. I mean, nobody knew what was happening. Everybody was freaking out. You didn't know if you were going to die. You didn't know what was going to happen with your kids in school. And I just remember putting my headphones in and laying down and listening to her sound bowl therapy and it just being a complete game changer for me. I just remember the anxiety starting to dissipate. I just remember being able to be present.
It's palpable.
It is palpable.
It's not just a pretty sound.
No.
It's palpable.
It's definitely palpable. And it really helped me through that time. I wish I did it more.
God, you make me want to buy a sound bowl.
I know. Maybe we need to get a sound bowl. One other practice has been a game changer, and then I want Melanie to take the floor. But also too, walking meditations. We just touched on that. Walking meditations, going for a walk and also being quiet. It's basically you're getting a workout and you're rewiring your brain at the same time. It's like habit stacking. It's kind of I don't know if anybody here maybe knows about Melissa Wood Health. She's got an app. She's from New York. She's an amazing yoga, Pilates kind of fusion meditation teacher. Highly recommend that you download her app. It's $14 a month, but it's completely worth it. And she's got walking meditations. And so, you can listen to her while you're taking a walk and she guides you through a walking meditation. So to me, that's like killing two birds with one stone. You're getting a workout and you're rewiring the brain at the same time.
I love it.
So those are my two.
What was the name again? Melissa
Wood Health. Okay. We should I'll probably tag her or something or try to hashtag or mention her in one of our posts. But Melissa Wood Health app, highly recommend. If you like yoga, if you like Pilates, if you like meditation, if you like core workouts, it's just
This is not a paid promotion.
No, it's not. But maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
But I'm being honest about the things that have helped me. But, Melanie, what's one meditation practice that's been a game changer for you?
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about this. So in the last episode, I described some of the tools that have been incredibly beneficial for me in healing my physical body from a decade of chronic pain. And last time the focus was more specifically on the choosing of the mindset in terms of the thoughts that you think and the stories that we tell and those habits of thought, right?
Yes.
There's more to it. There are more tools. And one of them that has been an absolute game changer for me was that I started doing what is referred to as limbic work. The limbic system, don't quote me on this, but my understanding is the limbic system is essentially that parasympathetic, sympathetic system. It's the aspects of the nervous system that handle all the autonomic response, autonomic responses. When someone is experiencing what could be called limbic impairment or nervous system dysregulation, other people will colloquially. I don't think I should have attempted that word.
But you did.
I should have picked a different word. That was hard. Fight or flight mode is what most people refer to it as.
Yes.
And there's other sympathetic responses, like there's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. There's others.
There's like 7.
Right.
There's 7
like
Fs.
But anyway,
trauma responses.
It is far more common than most people realize to have your actual brain, your nervous system, to get stuck in that sympathetic overdrive fight or flight response.
Yes.
It is extremely common when someone has had traumas in their life, whether it's multiple strings of traumas or even just one.
Yes.
Very often you'll be holding it together and then there will be a trigger and that will trigger your nervous system to get stuck in this sympathetic overdrive state. Long story short, I found out that applied to me.
Yes.
And in hindsight, I was probably operating that way for most of my adult life, maybe even into childhood.
I think I was too.
So I discovered this about myself and had an incredible divine appointment where I found myself just meeting exactly the right person to support me in repairing this nervous system dysregulation. And she is a limbic coach. She also she also does functional nutrition, and we're going to be bringing her onto the show.
How did you find her? How did you find her?
I got invited to go to a gut health workshop at the farm behind my house. And everything in me, because back when I had my acupuncture practice, I specialized in digestive disorders. But of course, I'm a classic case of healer, heal thyself. So I've had digestive disorders on and off through most of my adult life. And so I got invited to go to this gut health workshop, and I'm thinking it's going to be super like layman's terms. It's going to be for the normies who don't know anything about this. I'm not going to get anything out of it. I'm going to already know everything. But that quiet voice, that inner guidance was in the back, and it just wouldn't shut up. It's like, go to the thing, do the thing. You better go. You better go. And I'm like, I don't want to go. It's going to be boring. And it's like, you better go. You better go. I went. I followed my inner guidance system and I went. This is a good reminder for all of you out there. Don't ignore that little voice. That little voice pushing you to do the thing that you have resistance to doing could very likely be pushing you towards the thing that is the answer to all of the issues that you're trying to heal from.
Amen.
So I go to the thing, I meet the woman, and turns out she's not only a functional nutritionist, but she's also a specialist in limbic impairment. And I ended up deciding to work with her. And she has taught me so much about nervous system dysregulation. And in this case, talking about what is the meditative practice that has been beneficial for you. So the limbic work that she taught me is about rewiring the nervous system. So what I have discovered is that when you are stuck in sympathetic overdrive, and for me, that looked like constant for a decade tension in every aspect of my body, severe chronic pain, chronic inflammation,
GI problems,
hypervigilance. Hypervigilance meaning, constantly in a state of security scanning.
Something's going to happen.
What else? overthinking, overworking, overdoing, can't slow down, can't meditate, can't shut my brain off, difficulty sleeping, all of these things, anxiety. What I learned is that when your brain gets trapped in that state, what's occurring, and I did touch on this in a previous episode briefly, but I'll go into it again here, is that your body, between your brain and various glands, are in a nonstop state of releasing norepinephrine, cortisol, and adrenaline. Now, those are important hormones to have when you're getting chased by a bear. What is supposed to happen is those are essentially not floating in your bloodstream, and then you have a stress experience and they spike, and there's a sudden surge to get you through the stressful experience, and then they drop off. But if you are stuck in sympathetic overdrive perpetually, you have a constant state of those three compounds pushed into in your bloodstream at all times. They might peak extremely high at times, and then they go down to a low level, but they never turn off. And the problem with that is it is impossible for your body to heal, for your tissues to repair, for you to drop into parasympathetic rest and heal mode as long as those three compounds are floating in your bloodstream.
And I want to piggyback that and just say that when you are used to living in that fight or flight and that emotional high and then low, it's almost like when you first are getting into the limbic work or the meditative or practices, whatever, it feels foreign. Like when you're not when you're not in the fight or flight, you almost feel like, this is boring, or something's wrong, or what's about to, like, for people like us that struggle with that and trying to get out of that fight or flight, that's our body's just way of trying to protect us.
100%.
Because we've lived like that because of previous traumas. And it's almost, that's your comfort zone. Even though it's destructive.
Your body is doing everything it can to protect you.
Yes.
What it doesn't understand is that the danger has passed. And we know we can't stay there forever. No. So various practices, meditation, and this limbic work that I'm going to explain the process of in just a moment are designed to downregulate your nervous system into parasympathetic rest and heal mode. And what happens in parasympathetic rest and heal mode? Well, first of all, norepinephrine, adrenaline, and cortisol shut off finally. And you have now the ability to produce dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin.
The happy hormone.
And this process is about retraining and rewiring your brain to shift modes and to prioritize dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin instead. So let me explain this limbic, what this limbic work looks like. And I would describe it as a type of meditation, which is why I'm bringing it up here. So what it looks like is getting in a quiet place. I close my eyes and I pick either a memory from the past or visualizing some experience I would like to have in the future. Now, again, we do present moment, right? Everything is always present moment. So let's say it's a past experience. I'll use the example that I always use when I'm doing this work and I'm doing a past experience is when I was in middle school and we lived out in the country on acreage. We had horses in the backyard, and it was one of the most joyful times of my life, having the horses in the backyard and riding on a regular basis. And so what it looks like is present moment, speaking out loud, because doing so locks in the prefrontal cortex. Now, what was it that you said that the prefrontal cortex does?
Oh gosh, hold on.
You had a real brief, good statement on that.
That the prefrontal cortex, it helps us to stay calm and focused.
So that locks in the prefrontal cortex. It helps you stay present also, I'm recalling. So present. Speaking out loud, walking through a memory of a pleasant experience, utilizing all 5 senses in the moment. So it looks like this. I'm all dressed up and ready to go. I have my boots on. I love these leather boots. And I'm walking into the horse's pasture with the halters in hand. and I walk straight out to my beautiful, amazing horses in the back. I feel the sunshine on my skin. It's a beautiful day. And I reach my horse and I bury my face in his mane. And I love the way it smells, locking in that sense, the sense of smell, the sense of
touch,
the sense of the sunshine,
healing,
warmth on the skin.
all the senses.
I feel the breeze. It's a beautiful day. I'm so excited to get to ride today. And you're going through these visualizations, going through every detail that you can remember. And there's very often times where I can't remember a lot of details and I sort of just fill in the blanks.
Sure.
But the point is, you are choosing a very, very happy memory. Speaking through the incredible detail of it, incorporating in all 5 senses. I've heard people give examples of, walking through the market in Venice and they pick up an orange and take a bite of this fresh orange and they're talking about and thinking about and tasting the taste of it.
So my therapist calls this safe place. So this is called safe place. And so my safe place was the monastery about 45 minutes outside of where I live, in a little town called Hempstead. And so my safe place, or my description of what brings me that comfort, is the monastery and the clean floors and the monk at the front and the sound of the air conditioner that you
I'll bet you could smell some incense.
That's what I'm saying. So this is cool.
Right.
But it's always been my safe place for me.
Yeah.
What do you call it? What's
Same
it?
thing. Well, just refer to it as limbic work.
Limbic work.
Yeah.
So
anyway, you're going through this process, and here's what is happening neurologically while you're doing that. You are essentially forcing this heightened state of emotion. And here's the thing, guys, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. In terms of the way that your neurophysiology responds, in terms of the chemical compounds that are released, the neurophysiological reaction is the same whether you are experiencing that thing in real life in that moment right now, or whether you're just visualizing it with incredible detail. Your brain responds the same way. So you're going through this memory or this future visualization of something you would like to have, and you're infusing it with incredible detail, and your brain is like, this is happening.
Oh, sure.
And what happens with that heightened emotional state? You start producing norepinephrine, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. And you do this every day, day after day after day. My limbic coach suggests an hour a day. I will tell you that there are days where I can get in an hour, and there are days where I can't get in an hour. But I do it every day. I aim for no less than 20 minutes. And if I can only get in 20 minutes, I make sure I revisit it later in the day with maybe some gratitude journaling or something else to add to it. And I have a timer and I run it. And so I'm aiming for a total of 40 minutes of heightened emotional state every single day. And if you do this every single day, it takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes discipline. There are days where I don't freaking wanna. But I do it anyway. Why? Because of the results I experienced. It has been profound. The results I've experienced have been absolutely profound. Over time, what is happening is you are rewiring your brain. You're rewiring your brain to finally downregulate out of sympathetic overdrive into parasympathetic rest and heal. And it takes repetition, repeat. And your brain eventually will literally abandon old neural pathways and reforge new ones. Exactly. Cool. But you have to be consistent. If you don't do the work, if you are not consistent, it is not going to work.
It's just like with working out. If you want big biceps and you want big quads, you're going to be at the gym every day or 5 days a week training your muscles, those body parts. Like, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Working the brain out is the same as working the body, right? It's the same.
And my experience has been a decade of, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, a decade of focusing on trying to fix the pain from working on my body only, failed every single time. It took 2 weeks of mindset changing the story that I was telling, like we talked about in the last episode.
Going to your safe place.
Doing the limbic work, doing these daily visualizations. The future ones are even more fun because you get to play with like, what is my future house going to look like? And what about the vacations I'm going to go on? And you get to really get yummy and imagine all that.
Do you want to tell them what you told me a couple of weeks ago when you were seeing us a year from now, what we were going to do?
Oh, that was juicy.
Tell them about what you already envisioned a year from now and what we're going to do to celebrate the year. You'd already envisioned it and you told me about it. So tell us.
I spent 40 minutes deep in a visualization where I indulged in exactly our 1-year anniversary from the first episode of the Why of It All podcast, and all of the ways that you and I would be getting together and celebrating, taking ourselves out to an incredible dinner out, picking our favorite restaurant in Austin. And
getting all dressed up,
going out and getting mani-pedis and just treating ourselves. And I'm going through this visualization again with just incredible detail to the point of literally looking at you from across the table at this wonderful night out and grabbing your hands and saying, we did it, Gina. We didn't stop. There were speed bumps and things along the way, and we never stopped. We never gave up. And you have to speak about it again. This is really important. Present moment. You're not going through the visualization saying, and then I will do this, and then I will do that, and then we go do this. It's, I am looking deep into Gina's eyes and having such gratitude for this incredible friend of mine and everything that she has been as the most incredible partner. And we share we share a bottle of really expensive wine, and I'm taking a sip of it, and it's the most delicious Barolo I've ever had in my life. And
you described everything.
Present moment. It has to be now, because again, you are essentially tricking your brain into going from, oh my God, we're all going to die. Sympathetic overdrive, fight or flight mode. Right now, everything's terrible. We have to be in protective security mode all the time. You're telling your brain, nah. No, we're celebrating.
Well, you're manifesting it. You even said, let's make the reservation. Let's go ahead and make
Which we haven't done yet. We need to do that.
We need to
make a reservation.
That needs to be on our to-do list. So
this has been a practice that has been unbelievably effective for me. I went from 8 to 10 pain level for 10 years down to a 2 in a matter of 2 weeks. It has stayed that way.
So can I ask, how long have you been consistent with this limbic work?
Since then.
So
I started doing the work middle of January or so.
Okay. So a couple months.
I will be honest, I have skipped a couple of days. The excuse I had was I had 102 fever and I felt like crap and I didn't want to.
Remember when we were sick, we couldn't film that week. When she got sick.
So I chose to just vegetate. But I will say every other day that I have felt like I don't want to, I've made myself do it. Even if it was for a short amount of time, even if she wants me to do an hour a day, even if I only got in 20 minutes, but then I did another 20 minutes, let's say, of gratitude journaling or something like that.
Good.
So
good.
You've already seen
the changes within just a couple of months.
Yeah.
And that's actually bringing us to our next question. How long does it take to rewire the brain? And so science shows that you can make changes in as little as 8 weeks, even with just 5 to 10 minutes a day. I feel like that's doable. I feel like people can stick to that. 8 weeks. What's 8 weeks? I mean, really, that's just a blip. And to know that you could actually be creating neural pathways in as little as 8 weeks, in as little as 5 to 10 minutes a day, I just feel like that's an attainable.
And the thing is when it's hard at first, because you're like, this is new, and I've got too much going on. I don't have time for this. It's hard at first, but once you start experiencing the transformation, once you start feeling better, that becomes motivation all on its own.
I was just going to say, it'll get to the point where it's not a chore anymore. It'll get to the point where you're actually looking forward to taking that time, that 40 minutes a day. You're like, oh, this is my yummy time of the
Everybody
day.
leave me alone.
Yeah. It's just like,
I gotta go do my limbic work.
It's just like my nightly bath. Like I look forward to putting the bubbles in the tub and putting the candle on and getting in the tub, and whether I'm being quiet for 5 minutes and 5 minutes scrolling on Instagram, like you want it to get to a point where it's not a chore. It's like you're like, oh, can't wait to spend,
because you feel so good doing it.
Yes.
I will say that I will share, according to my limbic coach, she says, do the work minimum of 6 months. In some people's cases, if your nervous system is completely haywire and you're in really bad shape, it could be up to 3 years of daily practice. But as Gina said, you can start to see the results very quickly. Very quickly. It is in my case, it was 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks.
And that's amazing.
And so again, once you start feeling better, you want more of that.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of create the habit.
Yes.
Be disciplined about it.
Habit stack.
Prioritize your well-being.
Oh, yes.
Make that time. How much time do we spend just sticking around doing stupid stuff that is not supportive of our well-being? And we like pretend that it's so important and we have to do this thing. It's like, okay.
I dick around a lot. Is there a difference if you like big dick around or just dick around? Like if you're big dicking around, is that like
I'm not sure what that is exactly.
Oh no.
But I get where you're going with that.
No, you're so right though.
Do you ever wonder if it's a little bit of self-sabotage? Like when you know that there's this thing that you can do that is for sure going to make you feel better. It is for sure going to move the needle and pushing you in the direction of well-being. And you choose not to do that, but to do something stupid instead, something like not important.
You just hit this. I wasn't even going to go here, but now I'm going to go here because you said this. But I have a room completely dedicated to yoga. I have a yoga room. It's my 3rd bedroom. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And the yoga room is set up literally beautifully. Melanie, I think you've seen it. You've seen it. But I mean, it's got a little chair in there, a swivel chair, leather. It's got a little thing to put my feet on. It's got my beautiful Melissa Woodhealth yoga mat. It's got a beautiful piece of art. It's got my incense. It's got my father's ashes, his little urn. It's got all my candles. It's got my sage. It's got my incense. Like it's just that when you walk in, you have this sense of peace.
It's like your very own little oasis.
It's my sanctuary. And I will admit that I think that subconsciously I don't go in there a lot of times because it's almost like, it's a self-sabotage thing. It's almost like that place is too sacred and I'm still dicking around or doing shit I shouldn't be doing and like not making myself a priority. And I think it's almost because that place is so sacred.
It makes you feel guilty going in there, that you aren't going in there all the time.
Yes. And like my father's in there, his ashes are in there. It's a very sacred place for me. It was even before my father's ashes were in there, but since 2022, like he's in there now. And it's like, if I'm dicking around, like, I don't want to go in there and have to explain to my dad, like, I've been dicking around, Dad, even though he sees me, right? He's my little guardian angel. But yes, like, I think we self-sabotage sometimes. I think that we sometimes avoid the things that we know we need to do and the things we know are going to be good for us. But it's like, we're not ready to take that little step and leap. And we put things in front of ourselves, like our kids, our partners, our whatever, our bad habits.
All of those are important, but it's
I don't
know about you. I have a tendency to repeat talking about this. Oh my God, I just heard this for the first time.
What?
So last episode, we talked about the stories that you tell that keep you limited, right? I just realized the story I've been telling that I hadn't acknowledged until this very moment.
What?
There's not enough hours in the day. Well, you know what? I spend a lot of those hours doing a bunch of unimportant shit.
Big dicking around. No, it's true though, but we're being honest. We're being
listen, awareness is the first step. Amen.
Awareness and being honest.
Yeah.
This is why we have these damn conversations. The why of it all. right?
Yeah.
This is why we're here. This is so good. God, this is good. I can't believe we've been filming for 45 minutes.
Oh crap! This was going to be the short.
This was going to be the short episode,
Okay.
but we're getting there.
Well, this is a good segment.
Okay. Hold on just a sec. Where are we at?
I can't meditate.
Yes.
Debunking common myths.
Well, people always say I can't meditate. My mind won't stop racing. But that's the point, right? Like you want to work with where you're at in your present moment, where you're at in life, and your brain's going to wander, and that's totally normal. Meditation can be looked at as just learning to refocus, to refocus that energy, learning to refocus those thoughts. I just think it goes right along with, I need to stop using the word piggyback. Why am I using the word piggyback?
I don't mind it.
I know, but I'm just saying it too much. Like it's the last 2 episodes, but like talking about
ChatGPT can help with it. We'll find
retraining your brain, like Melanie talking about retraining the brain. And
well, yes, like if you're saying I can't meditate because I can't quiet my mind,
yes.
I have trouble quieting my mind and focusing. Well, guess what? Like meditation and practices like meditation are exactly the right prescription for that. Because the reason you can't quiet your mind is because you're in that sympathetic overdrive state.
Yeah.
So what is the solution for that? Is to retrain your brain to downregulate into parasympathetic mode. And meditation and practices like that are the perfect exercise. You just can't judge yourself about it.
Yeah.
Start small, like you said. 2 minutes.
Small. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yep, exactly. And so
it's practice, and it's about developing the habit and allowing your brain over time with repeat, and consistency to forge those new neural pathways. Yep.
So if we're talking to somebody, if we're talking to a friend or a listener chimes in and they send us a comment and they're like, how do I start? What's the simplest thing that they can do today? I would say, and we're both going to have ideas, but like a 2-minute meditation. Like when I started yoga teacher training in 2019, one of the best pieces of advice or best tool that somebody gave me was the app called Insight Timer. And I'm chiming in on this is not sponsored, but Insight Timer, you have thousands and thousands of free meditations on there. And you can type in, I want to do a 1-minute meditation. I want to do a 3-minute. I just say, start small, start small, start where you are. If you're driving home from work and you've got a 10-minute commute, get on Insight Timer and pop on a awake meditation where you can just sit and listen to birds chirping. They have little musical things that you can listen to, monks humming. You can listen to sound bowl therapy on that app. You could put that on and just listen to it and notice the little nuances in the change. Notice how your blood pressure is going down. Notice the calm you feel. Notice the jaw starting to get a little more fluid and less tense.
Breathing.
The breathing. Notice how your forehead is not furrowed. Notice how your brows have gotten a little more relaxed. Like, another idea too is just go to an easy yoga class. Like, go out on a limb, like come to the bridge, come see me, come take a restorative class, come take a yoga nidra class. It's not intimidating. Men and women come. I know sometimes men are like kind of nervous about going into a yoga studio. You're not going to be looked at as a pervert because you want to see girls in yoga pants. Like, no, just come in.
Unless you are a pervert.
Unless you are
who wants to see girls in yoga pants. Well, then there's a whole other set of problems there. That's not really what the show's about.
But I would just say, just a simple thing that you can do. Again, just the 2-minute, or you could even listen to your breath for 2 minutes. You could even, again, pay attention to your breath. Pay attention to the in and out. That's just something simple. It's a good place to start. So
yeah, I've heard before suggestions for getting started. I had one person talk about light a candle and for 1 minute focus on the flame.
Girl,
just watch it. You're not having to think about it. You're just like literally observing it. You're just observing the way that it moves. You're observing the way that it responds to your breath. And you just observe it and set a 1 minute timer. And you're like, cool, I did it for 1 whole minute. All I thought about was observing this flame. There's no judgment in it. It's not like you're like, that flame moves weird.
No,
there's no judgment in it.
No.
You're just in a state of quiet observation. And then the next time, make it 2 minutes, and then 3, and go see how far you can get it. Do it 1 segment at a time, add 1 minute or 30 seconds at a time. Just see how far you can take that. You might find that you can go way farther than you think, but it takes that slow habit build, or that not habit building, but it's practice.
It's practice.
It's the other suggestion I have. If you're someone who is struggling to quiet your mind, give it a shot with the limbic work that I described earlier. If it feels better to you to be actually thinking thoughts, pick a wonderful memory or pick a future projection, some kind of, my limbic coach calls it fortune telling, but imagine some future scenario that you really would love to experience and get juicy with it, get detailed with it, incorporate your 5 senses. What does it look like? What are what's in this imagery that you can smell? What can you taste? What can you touch? What does the light feel like on your skin, the breeze, and the way that it moves your hair? Really get detailed with it, because in that process, you are rewiring your brain. You are telling your brain, we are in a heightened state of joyful emotion, and your brain goes, okay, and it produces those happy neurochemicals that are counteracting the ones that are keeping you trapped in fight or flight.
I have to go back to your candle meditation, because that's so funny you brought that up, because in my 300-hour yoga teacher training, we did a candle meditation. We had a whole, it was like 10 of us, and we had a candle in the center of the room. We all got in a circle. It was low. The lights were low. We literally had some Ram Dass or something, somebody playing in the background. I can't remember. And we literally focused on that candle for like, it's funny because I think we did it for like 20 minutes and it felt like 3. It was wild, because when we got done, she's like, okay, well, that was 20 minutes. And then we were like, what? It was weird how time just kind of like, time sped up. It felt like it.
That's how you know it was a good one.
It was good. It was really
That's how you know it's good.
So I highly recommend it. And I had another experience actually before, when you and I lived together, actually, off of Great Hills Trail, when we had that cute apartment, the last apartment we lived in together. I had an experience when I was taking a bubble bath, and I had a candle, and it was perched in front of me. And I remember like losing myself in the candle. I actually brought that up in our 300-hour when we did. I was like, I remember when I was 20 something, or early 30s, and I had this cool experience. So highly recommend what Melanie suggested, the candle meditation. If you're a woman and you like lighting candles at the end, like in your house, like just sit and give it a couple minutes and just stare at it. It's really a cool feeling. It's like the sound bowl therapy. It's a different modality, but it can create the parasympathetic again.
It makes me wonder what effects of that light, the photons of light coming from the flame, entering your retina, and what effects they're having on the brain. Sure, certainly it's different from like freaking LED lights.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. Maybe more of that in our next episode. But anyway, this was fun. This was a good episode. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What do we think about it?
This is great. We went off on some tangents we hadn't planned.
No.
Like we did our homework, you guys. We
did.
Really did our homework. My husband had chastised us previous episodes for not doing our show prep and our homework. And so we really buckled down and did it last night. And I love that we just went in directions that weren't on our notes at all.
Do we want to close it with like a 1-minute little meditation?
On time?
What do you think? Or should we just
let's do it?
Let's do it real quick. Let's just do a quick one. Okay. So if you're listening now, if you're driving, don't close your eyes, please.
Don't close your eyes if you're driving.
But if you're home, please close your eyes. Make sure you're either laying down or sitting in a comfortable chair with your spine straight. Maybe uncross your legs if they're crossed. Plant both feet on the floor to ground yourself. And just gently start to pay attention to your breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Feel with each inhalation how the chest is expanding, the belly is expanding, The diaphragm is expanding. You're taking that air all the way up to the collarbones. And then when you release all of everything that happened the day before and the minutes before this, just exhale it out. Let it go. Let that exhalation go all the way. And come back again and inhale. Take a nice deep breath in. Inhale. Feel the chest rise again. And then release. Exhale. Release it all. And come back to just your normal breath. The normal in and out. And then feel the shoulders start to drop a little more. Start to feel the jaw unhinge just slightly. Even if you separate the teeth a little bit, that's okay. Let the tongue hang in the center of the mouth. Just a couple more breaths, just like that. Slow and intentional. Paying attention to the chest rise every single time you inhale. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Flutter the eyes back open gently. And hopefully you notice that you just feel a little more relaxed, a little more calm, a little more centered. And that's what we do. That's it. That's it. You could do that at home. You can rewind this and listen to this every day for a couple of minutes. How long was that? 2 minutes, maybe?
So simple, so easy.
Yeah.
It just takes committing to you and your own well-being and deciding, I'm going to do what I need to do to feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully that felt good.
It felt good to me.
It felt good?
It felt real good to me.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad Melanie suggested the little meditation.
Was that me?
That was you. That was your idea.
Oh,
very smart. Brilliant.
Well, look at me go.
Brilliant. And we can do more of that. If you guys, comments, please, questions, feedback, anything you liked about this conversation, anything you didn't like about this conversation.
We want feedback.
We want to know, but we do. Thank you.
And if you have enjoyed this show and you want to support us, the very, very best way to do that is on whatever platform you're on. Just give us a like. Just go down there and just hit the little heart button or the follow or the subscribe, and then especially share with your friends.
Yes.
That is the very best way to support us. And we would love to hear from you in the comments. We'll put in the show description where to find us on our socials. You're welcome to communicate with us there. We want to hear from you. Like we really do. We love you guys. Thank you for being here with us.
And I love you, Melanie.
I love you too. Give me a hug.
This is great. Again, we said this was going to be 30 minutes and it's an hour.
It's an hour.
And it's okay.
I'm okay.
And I love it because it ended up going so many facets that we covered. And I think it's just good information.
All is well. Everything is always working out for us.
Yes.
It's fine.
So thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. See you next time.